Hey, so I just got back in from Bible study. Today has been an amazing day. Nobody but God. Like God was up and all through this day, my day. You know, this is also breast cancer month, but it's also domestic violence month. And I am a victim of domestic violence. Now, when I was going through my domestic violence, my cousin Nikki, from near Purifoy. Dang, I just butchered her last name, Purifoy. What what is wrong with me tonight? I don't know. I'm excited. But anywho, Nikki knew. Nikki knew. I think my cousin Sam knew. My mother suspected, but she really didn't know because I kind of stayed away. But yes, even when we got married at the courthouse. I used to wear this makeup. Well, it wasn't a makeup. It was a tattoo cover up called Dermadim. I believe it was Dermadim from J.C. Penney. And when we went to go get married, I had a black eye, and I tried to put the makeup over it to cover it. And we didn't have a witness, but we had the clerk or whatever, and she's looking at me, and I'm like, "This the grin to you. If you don't get this going, I gotta go home with him." No, he did not force me to marry him. I wanted to marry him. I loved my husband. My ex-husband was the first man I ever loved in my whole entire life. He's probably the only man I ever loved too, because of my ex-husband was the first man that I loved, mind, body, soul. He had it. He had me. He had it. He whatever it. Listen, yeah. So, but also in that, when I left him, Mother's Day is when it was the last time I would see him. Mother's Day 2006. I'm sorry, that Saturday before Mother's Day 2006 would be the last time I ever see him. Because I moved to Tampa. That was the last time, and that was the worst time because he tried to run me over. That was like the kid's father was in a halfway house. He was just in a halfway house, and he was like, "We're gonna start over," and I'm thinking the transition would be good for me and my kids, but the transition was not good for me because I always had these relationships where I'm single, I'm back into another one. I'm single, I'm back into another. I never had time to deal with anything, childhood trauma, just none of that. I just was back into these years of relationships. You all know the crazy thing is, most of the men I dealt with, they was not fucked up. I was fucked up. I was fucked up. I fucked them up. Always ask God, you know, the stronger I get into Christ and, whatever plan God has for my life, I want to be able to save men. And what I mean by saving men from, men deal with a lot of abuse, way more than women. Women just more emotional, so we express it more. Men suffer in silence. That's a silent killer, right? Especially for our black men, we already having a shortage because they're killing up each other. But anywho, so me and my ex-husband, we talked, and he was like, Nicole, it's over the years I regret. I have so much regret. He said, and this is things we never even talked about, so it made it that much beautiful. Another thing too, this has been the first time in 20 years he apologized without blaming me. He apologized, and he didn't blame me, and I listened, and this was good. I needed this. He needed this too. He needed this too. Yeah, we needed this. And yeah. he said to me, he said, you know, I didn't ask, I didn't have to act, I didn't have to ask why. Why did you do it? Why did you think it was okay? Because the crazy thing is, the first year of our marriage, the first year of us being together, or our marriage, I don't know, whatever, ever, so long ago. Because I got married in 2002 or 2003. I got married in, I think, 2002. I don't even know, but whatever. But it was like, man, I was treated like Cinderella. And the sad thing about that is, the same girl who introduced me to my ex-husband, that would be the first person to ever put witchcraft on me. That hurt, that sucked. But her mother actually tried to warn me. I remember my husband had took me shopping at Westland Mall. For some reason, that was his favorite mall. My ex-husband had took me shopping at Westland Mall, and from Westland Mall we go to her mother's house. And we sitting there, and you know, we was, oh, where you coming from? You know, he was like, oh, we just come from the mall, and da 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 da. He was like, oh yeah, I got her some clothes or something. I think he was flying back out or something. And her mother said, with a straight face, but I didn't know what she meant. She said, hey, she's evil. Keep her out your business, and she's jealous of you. She's evil. And I just looked, because they had a, they didn't have the best relationship, so it was always rah, you know, with them too. So I didn't, you know, I'm gonna believe my friend. I didn't even ask her about it, but it all come full force. But unfortunately, yeah. So I don't know if it was because the witchcraft was on me, which triggered him, because we had time, like we had ample amount of time. We fell in love very quickly. He said to me, he said, when the first time I saw you, I was in love. I was in love, and I'd have did anything for you. And I said, well, I was the first person to say I love you, so why didn't you tell me you love me? If you loved me first, if you knew you loved me the first time you saw me. You know, I'm a man. Whatever. But, and I said this to him. I said, you know, I remember the first time I told you I love you. It was actually a slip up. He flew me to the Bahamas, and we had just finished making love. And I was supposed to say goodnight, but I ended up saying I love you. And I was so embarrassed. I was so ashamed, because it, yes, I have said I love you before him to people, but I didn't mean it. It was just because I'm pretty sure they said it first, and then I had, you know, you don't want anybody to feel foolish, so you said I love you too, but you didn't love nobody. Nobody loved each other back then. Yep, I said it, but it felt real when I said it to him, so I guess that made me like gushy inside or whatever. But I'm very happy that I'm very happy we had this conversation, because what he didn't know and what I didn't share in the video was I literally just completed a 3-day fast. So that was nobody but God. That was nobody but God to set me free, because I was in relationships and not knowing how to love or give myself, because I had the mindset of, if you love him, love looked to me looked like abuse. So I wouldn't allow myself to love. I am free from that. God has broke the bondage. God has broke the shackles. Yeah, I wish him well. I wish him well. He was my first love. He was my first husband. So I'll always have this this love for him, right? Yeah. So today was a good day. Bible study was amazing. I love you. God loves you more.